I would like to introduce our speaker for today, who is Mr. George Baltiz. He's a learning and development experience with 25 years of experience in managerial, operation, and training positions in the defense and security domain. He also has 10 years of experience in the private sector, such as technology and training projects subject matter expert. George comes with a proven track record in training education and is a solid program, project, and service management professional with a consulting background and relevant credentials, which is PMP, PMI, CP, Prince 2 practitioner, and Prince 2 Agile practitioner, and IDIL. And without any further delay, George, I would like to hand the session over to you.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. And thank you everybody who is here with us. And I hope you find this time with us quite profitable or fruitful. This webinar is about how PMI approaches the evolving project management and the way it reflects its progression of the profession of the project manager. Organizations today expect projects to deliver outcomes in addition to outputs and artifacts. So it's not even outputs now, it's outcomes as well. Even better, it's about value. To that end, modern project managers are expected to deliver projects that create value for the organizations and the stakeholders. The key takeaways for today: we will lay the groundwork with some key concepts, and then we take a glimpse into the project management environment. We will introduce the PMI for those who do not know what PMI is, the PMP and the PMBOK. We will compare PMBOK edition 6 versus PMBOK edition 7, and we will share some thoughts about the new project manager, the modern project management, and the what is new about the project management certification the PMI delivers. So the key concepts we are going to discuss are those, and we start with the output. What is output? Just to make everybody be on the same page, output can be a product or a service or both that introduces something new, say a change. It needs inputs, also a process like tools, techniques, and activities to have an output and more. Then it's outcome, which comes after the output. It's an end result or a consequence of a process or a project. Outcomes can also include inputs and artifacts, but have a broader intent by focusing on the benefits and value. Value actually is benefits plus a couple more things minus costs and risks. So let's see, what is value? Value is the worth, the importance, or the usefulness of something. Three things: worth or benefit, importance or usefulness of something. However, different stakeholders perceive value in different ways. So it's the perceived benefits, importance, and the usefulness. Customers can define value as the ability to use specific features or functions of a product. Organizations, on the other hand, can focus on business value as determined with financial metrics such as the benefits minus the costs and the risks of achieving those benefits. Societal value can include the contribution of to groups of people, to communities, or the environment, for example. So this, when we are talking about value, we're talking about these kind of things. What is product and what is service? Also, product actually is an artifact that is produced. It is quantifiable, can be either an end item or a component item. A product is tangible. We can put it on the market for acquisition, attention, consumption, while a service is an intangible item. Is basically a work that a person or persons do for another individual. So that's the difference between products and services. And we will see later on that projects are meant to produce either products and or services. Portfolio is a collection, let's say a collection of projects, of programs, sub-portfolios, and operations. And they are all managed as a group to achieve specific strategic objectives. So it's at a higher level, strategic level, when we're talking about portfolio. When we're talking about program, then it's similar to portfolio, but at, say, operational level. It's a collection of related now projects and sub-programs, as well as program activities that are managed in a coordinated manner to obtain benefits not available from managing them individually. So we collect projects and sub-programs of the same nature, and we put it in a program. Projects. What is a project now? In project management, the definition of a project is a temporary endeavor undertaking to create unique product, service, or result. Projects can stand alone or be part of a program or portfolio. So project is temporary means that it has defined beginning and end in time, and therefore defined scope and resources. And a project is unique is that it's not a routine operation, but a specific set of operations designed to accomplish a singular goal. What is not temporary or unique? It's not service. It's not project. Sorry, it's business as usual. Okay, so development of software for business process, construction of a building, of a bridge, the expansion of sales into a new geographic market. All of these are projects. Running a hotel is business as usual. So now we agreed on what is project. Let's see what is project management. Project management, simply put, is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, techniques to project activities in order to meet project requirements. We have project requirements, and then we apply knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques in order to meet these project requirements. More officially, project management is the discipline of initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing the work a team does to achieve specific goals and meet specific success criteria. And here comes the project manager, who is the guy assigned with this task, assigned by the performing organization to lead the project team. The project team which is responsible for achieving the project objectives. So these managers perform a variety of functions, facilitating the project team. The project team works to achieve the outcomes and managing the processes to deliver intended outcomes. As for the project team itself, it's a set of people, a set of individuals performing the work of the project to achieve the objectives. Now we lay the ground for what comes next. Let's talk about the project management environment as it is now. The business environment in which project management is practiced is changing at an ever-accelerating pace. Nobody can deny that. Of course, it's technology, along with dramatic shifts in the geopolitical and demographic landscapes, as well as nowadays with the work from home model, which COVID-19 initiated as a responsive act. This has produced, all these have produced a workplace that already is different markedly from the typical corporate environment of the early 90s. In this fast-changing business environment, where the focus is on agility and for the management, for the business, is what the next quarter's profit statement looks like, there is significant risk that project management will be perceived as an outdated concept, like a dinosaur. So project management itself is particularly vulnerable to obsolescence, especially if change is ignored and focus remains only on today's success. So if we do not analyze the major environment trends within the business community and successfully predict the emerging needs of business enterprises, we will find ourselves ideally equipped only to meet the business needs of yesteryear, not of the future. What we mean changing business environment, which is next. Nobody can deny that incredible changes have happened in the workplace over the past 20 years. Consider that like 40 years ago, the tools of business were memos and telephone. The bosses in the offices, they had stenographers. Those stenographers recorded dictation in shorthand and then transferred the information to memos on IBM typewriters. If there were errors, they were corrected by applying liquid paper and retyping. Until we had the copiers, the distribution of memos was limited to the number of carbon copies that could be accommodated in the typewriter. So 3, 4, 5 copies. Long distance telephone communication was expensive. Business generally restricted personal telephone calls and often tracked the use of business lines to ensure they were used only when necessary. Meetings were almost always held face to face, even if a substantial travel was involved for that. And since meetings were primary means of communication and information dissemination, they tended to be frequent and long most of the times. Information was stored in hard copy in huge volumes. Every manager had shelves with binders. You remember these 3-ring binders and stacks of papers. Bookshelves and file cabinets consumed considerable space in most offices. Long story short, in such an environment, decision making was flowed from the top, and only upper management was the only group that had the necessary information to make decisions. Middle management was just for the critical communication, was the critical communication link between the corporate decision makers and the workers. Nowadays, we don't need middle management anymore, or if we have middle management, we don't have it for that role. So modern communication tools now have changed all this, of course, and all we mentioned have almost disappeared. However, the most significant change, apart from now the evolution of internet communications and all these things we all are familiar with, is the way information flows within the corporation. Suddenly, the CEO can communicate with 100,000 employees, if he has so many, at the same time all over the world. And now also it's Google is the most knowledgeable source of knowledge in the world, and it's available 24/7. So wise men are not needed anymore. In this environment comes now the technology to add to all of this. We have these disruptive technologies like big data, artificial intelligence, cloud, 3D printing, all this that drive the change in almost everything, including project management. The question has to do with the business, though, and the way businesses see project management is what we are going to discuss next. So how is project management performing in this turbulent business environment? For the moment, it appears to be doing well. I mean, project management is doing well. But how about the future? The PMI, if we don't know it, just be patient. I will introduce it to you later on. PMI stands for Project Management Institute, continues to report exponential growth in memberships and its certification program as well. So also same applies with other project management associations like APM, Prince, and all these other associations. Once used sporadically on large engineering and construction project management is now practiced in dozens of industries, if not, I would say thousands now, in virtually every corner of the globe. But beneath the surface, however, project management is not necessarily assured a healthy future. Shall we worry? Yes and no. There are some studies report the following findings. Companies with more mature project management practices have better project performance. This is finding number one. Finding number two is that project management maturity is strongly correlated with more predictable project management schedule and cost performance. Predictable towards agile or unpredictable. Good project management companies also, that's another finding, have lower direct costs than poor project management companies. Okay, these findings are significant, of course, and represent an important step forward in quantifying the value of project management. However, quantifying value is not an easy thing, and there is not enough statistical evidence to support any claim on value. It's clear that implementing more discipline in the management of projects can yield significant improvement, but how much is enough? Are there specific practices that are more important than others? And are these practices the same for every organization? These are questions that are not answered yet. Although these studies are important and represent a big step forward in quantifying the value of project management, considering the long-term future of project management, it is important to view the results from the perspective of senior managers and shareholders. So those guys, they have the last word, and those guys, they have the impact and the interest to decide about the future of project management, senior managers and shareholders. And at that level, the data, as I've already said, is still unconvincing. This does not mean project management will soon be replaced by some other management methodology, but there is a risk that project management may not retain the status it is enjoying today. And the only way to mitigate this risk is to prepare to address the business needs of the future. And we will later see how PMI reacted on this one. Also, other project management institutions, like, as I said, APM and Prince 2, they have already, these guys also, they are moving towards that direction, trying to follow what is changing and be able to maintain the status, or even making their position better. So what are the implications for project management in this environment as we described it? Question, what does this mean for the project management? Also, are these trends or this situation likely to increase the demand for project management or render them obsolete? Is the profession of project managers threatened? I will not answer this one now. Generally, however, project managers are well equipped so far to survive and prosper in the emerging environment, for the short term at least, and managers who can adapt to and lead change will be very valuable, will be indispensable in an environment characterized by turbulence and experimentation. But the traditional model of a project manager having sole responsibility for a discrete project, as we used to know until now, may not survive in the future. Just as little managers become, Just as middle management have become unnecessary with the advent of pervasive, let me call it that way, technology for communication and information dissemination, so will traditional project managers. But many of the skills project managers typically apply to their work will not only be useful, but necessary in the coming years. Business will continue to need the tools provided by project management, project scope management, project time management, and the other 8 knowledge areas. We will mention them later on, as they are defined by the PMI are not going away. They are still here. But the most critical need may be for the 5 general management skills that form the foundation for building project management skills, and that those skills they are certified by PMI, and they are essential for the project manager. So consider the following examples. Leading is one of the management skills in an environment characterized by turbulence and experimentations. Leaders who can effectively establish direction and motivate and inspire will be in high demand. Communicating, the ability to facilitate effective communication is not necessarily getting easier with today's electronic tools and capabilities. Rather, ensuring the right information gets to the right person at the right time is significantly more important amid the plethora of extraneous information also being transmitted at the same time. Also, communication is increasingly occurring across geographical boundaries, time zones, and culture. So communication is not an easy thing, and this skill is in high demand. Negotiating, globalization is increasing, and creates new cross-cultural interfaces, and those interfaces are becoming even more complex. Problem solving, as noted above, the emerging environment involves a complex mosaic of conflicting directions and demands, further complicated by frequently changing relationships, many of which are cross-cultural. Problem solvers will be critical to the success of any organization. And last but not least, influencing the organization. In this environment, only the successful companies will survive. Without the rigid command and control structures of the past, success will require people who can get things done. In the absence of formal processes and procedures, as now in the new project management approaches seems that they are now replacing command and control. Flexibility, speed, agility, getting things done are higher priority than processes, procedures, command and control. So influencing the organization to adapt and adopt all these new approaches is a key factor to success. And having already mentioned agility, let's take a look. What is agility, and how come we now speak about agility, and what are agile organizations? In fact, agility has existed for immemorial times, since humans have had to adapt to their environment in order to survive. So it's the essence of humankind to be agile. Why then we are today talking about agility as if it were a new thing? Well, the other side of the coin of humankind is order. Humans needed to be agile to adapt. They also have always sought over order and stability, which could be seen as the opposite of adaptation. Based on extensive research, it stated that over 90% of organizational change was incremental. That was around about the 70s. Organization changed, but slowly in a controlled way. In fact, since the beginning of the 20th century, the teaching of business schools have been about stability order, and hierarchy. This is the model that most organizations have followed for the past 100 years. And then came a revolution, already mentioned, the internet, including the Internet of Things, the digital age, smartphones, startups, social media, Bitcoin, cloud, data being the new oil, artificial intelligence and machine learning. So rapid technological change, the regulation and globalization have intensified competition and increased the turbulence that managers face today, forcing them to adopt new and more responsive organizational forms. The degree of interdependence among the decisions that a firm faces is a key driver of complexity now. But even if scholars and researchers, as well as management gurus, have advocated for organizational responsiveness, agility, change, and even revolution, managers have generally been reluctant to embrace change and agility as a way to do business. Due to a more volatile and less predictable economic environment, the pace and the magnitude of business transformation is far faster and greater than ever before. Yet, it's a process that most companies haven't mastered. So it's a long way that we have to go to reach at a point that everybody will be happy against today's changes and the environment as it is now evolving. Today, this is changing, and the project management community can be at the forefront of this evolution. My sense is that project management is a little bit ahead of any other discipline in terms of evolution, adopting and adapting to this new reality. And here comes agility to come to the project management. But let me talk about this a little bit later. What is agility first? Let me explain what is agility first. Projects are traditionally used to manage change in an order way. That's the way we did business so far. So traditional project management is now, to face the new challenges, seems ill-prepared to tackle complex and fast-moving environments. As early as the late 80s and early 90s, agile concepts were applied to fast-track construction projects, yes, where teams were collocated, yes, activities were executed in parallel, and the results drove the plan. So we were agile even then. However, the concept of agile methodology itself was introduced by a group of thinkers of what was then called lightweight methods to tackle complex, fast-moving software development projects, software only. So in 2001, these thinkers issued the Agile Manifesto. It's around 12 articles, but 4 basic concepts. So these 4 basic concepts are individual interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. It does not mean that what comes second is not necessary, but what is first, the first part of each sentence, it has more importance, needs more focus. So individuals and interactions are above processes and tools. Does not mean that we don't need processes and tools anymore. We need processes and tools, but we rely more on individuals and interactions, and we invest more on working software or on working something over documentations. We invest more on customer collaboration. We invest more in responding to change than following a plan. Of course, we have a plan. We can't go anywhere without a plan, but change is welcome now, anytime. although agile management was initially codified to deal, as I said, with software development, its principles have now spread to program management and organizational management and all kinds of development. Agility now, and that's the way we have to see it, is the project team's ability to quickly change the project plan as a response to customer or stakeholder needs, market or technology demands in order to achieve better project and product performance in an innovative and dynamic project environment. So the project team, the project manager, has to be able to listen to the customer or the stakeholder. If the needs change, they have to change the plan, they have to change the project, and they have to fulfill these new requirements to incorporate it into what is the new, say, scope of the project. And this happens especially in knowledge type of projects. Few things that may have us as a question, let me explain at a later stage. So what the PMI, the PMBOK, the PMP and the PMBOK are first, and how they contribute to all this. PMI stands for Project Management Institute, is a US-based non-profit professional organization for project management. They offer 8 certifications. They offer global standards. They have chapters and community in more than 80 countries, maybe more. They offer training and education, thought leadership, and academic research. I'm not going to deep dive on these ones. You can visit the PMI. You can visit the PMI website, and you have all this information for yourselves if you don't already know about it. I will only give you the titles of the PMI certificates. The flagship is the PMP, Project Management Professional. Before the PMP, for inexperienced project managers is the Certified Associate in Project Management, and then Program Management, Scheduling Professional, Risk Management, Agile Certified Practitioner, Business Analyst, Portfolio Management, PMI Project Management Ready, Disciplined Agile Scrum Master, Senior Scrum Master, Value Stream Consultant, and Agile Coach. So these are the certifications offered by the PMI. We go to the PMP, which is, as I said, the flagship of the PMI, and it is a globally recognized project management certification that tests the ability to manage people, processes, business priorities of a professional project. There are now over 1 million PMP certification holders worldwide, according to the PMI. It is applicable to project managers in virtually any industry, including health, construction, information technology, and business. Is the PMP worth it? I'm not gonna tell you anything about that. Of course, the PMI claims that it is worth it. The fact that over 1 million people are have this certification maybe means something. Normally, it's a proof of your skills and knowledge and your attitude. It's a proof of experience, because to get to the PMP, you need to have some years of experience, proven experience. Otherwise, PMI does not allow you to participate in this exam. So it's a proof, a certificate of also experience. in some regions, especially, is a good bullet on your CV. In the Americas, in Middle East, PMP is the top certificate in the market. But if it is worth for you, it's up to you. What you're looking for, where you are. The PMBOK stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. That's something very wide. The PMBOK guide is a book published by the PMI. So it started, the first edition was 1996, as you see in this picture. Then the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth we are having now was issued in 2017. And the new version is issued last August 2021. And you see the difference between those two, 6 and 7, is that 6 has 756 pages and 7 has only 275 pages. That seems ridiculous or funny, but it has an explanation. We will discuss about this right now. First, let me real quick explain each one of them, and then we will compare them. The PMBOK edition 6 focuses on the project management, on the project manager, sorry. And it's mostly descriptive, but also prescriptive. It says how to do things or describes how to do things, but it's descriptive and prescriptive. 50-50, yeah, okay. Identifies a subset of project management body of knowledge and is generally recognized as good practice. So generally recognized, what that means that the knowledge and practices described are applicable to most projects most of the time, and there is a consensus about their value and usefulness. And good practice means there is a general agreement that the application of the knowledge, skills, tools, techniques to project management processes can enhance the chance of success over many projects in delivering the expected business values and results. So the project management manager works with the project team and other stakeholders to determine the use of appropriate, generally recognized good practice for each project. PMBOK guide is differing from a methodology. It's not a methodology. PRINCE2 is a methodology, but PMBOK guide is not a methodology. Methodology is a system of practices, techniques, procedures, and rules used by those who work in a discipline. PMBOK guide is a foundation upon which organization can build its own methodologies, policies, procedures, rules, tools, techniques, and so forth. Life cycle phases needed to practice project management. The standard for project management is included in this PMBOK guide as part 2. And this guide is based on the standard for project management. The standard is a document established by an authority as a model or an example. So this standard is a document established by PMI as a model or an example, you name it. Is a foundational reference for PMI's project management professional development programs and the practice of project management, and was developed using a process-based, keep in mind my word process-based, on the concepts of consensus, openness, due process, and balance. Now, the PMBOK 7 is, as I said, like 1/3 of the size of PMBOK 6. However, this is not quite true, and we will find out later on. What happened, or what has happened over the past few years, is that already mentioned this emerging technology, new approaches, rapid market changes, which all of this disrupted our ways of working, driving project management profession to evolve. To cater for this need, PMI had to respond, and they responded with PMBOK 7. I'm not going to describe. You see, it has 12 principles of project management, 8 project management domains. It is applicable for either predictive, traditional, adaptive, agile, hybrid approaches in project management. It includes tailoring in detail, how to tailor. Includes model methods and artifacts, which are not included in PMBOK 6, and includes also a digital platform, which is not part of PMBOK 7, of course, because it's a digital platform. So here comes the digital platform that has tons of knowledge and things in there. That's the reason why the PMBOK 7 is only less than 300 pages. So the rest of the information and knowledge is with this digital platform. But let me go directly to the comparison of PMBOK 6 and PMBOK 7. Let's go directly to see how these are compared. For those who are not familiar, it might not be easy, but we will give it a try, and then you can go and Google search or do your own homework. PMBOK 6 covers project environment, the role of project manager, and 10 essential knowledge areas within the project management. As I said, it's focused on the project manager, and that's it. What are the PMBOK 6 knowledge areas? PMBOK knowledge areas is accompanied by processes, inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs. Actually, it's 49 processes. These 10 knowledge areas, they cover 10 practices. The 10 knowledge areas are just, I'm going through them real quick. You can also see them: integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. And as I said, there are 49 processes, which means that each process takes inputs and produces outputs. The outputs of one process may be inputs for another process, and so forth, until the final outcome, the final output or outcome of the project comes. The PMBOK 7 include tailoring, models, methods, and artifacts, and 8 performance domains. There is a drastic shift from processes to performance. It's not process anymore. In PMBOK 7, the shift is to performance. There are 8, I think, performance domains. But first, let me explain one by one. This one, tailoring. What is tailoring? Tailoring is a new framework in PMBOK, and it's in PMBOK 7. And it's based on the concept that single approach may not allow project manager to meet the required project deliverables, organizational demands, project needs. So once the project manager has selected an initial development approach, project tailoring encourages the manager to adapt the project specifications to meet all project requirements. So we apply project management the way we can, or we want, or we have to. Models, methods, and artifacts. There are many in PMBOK 7, and those provide users with a plethora of resources such as articles, videos, and templates, tying them to the performance domain of which they would be most useful. This offers great value for aspiring and also working project management alike. The performance domain are, as you also see in the slide, 8 performance domains. It's team, stakeholders, life cycle, planning, uncertainty, and ambiguity, delivery, performance, and project work. As I said, these new project performance domains focus on delivering value to the organization and its stakeholders through the project delivery. So now we are not looking for an output or even an outcome. Now we are looking for value. So we are going a step further. The PMBOK 6, the standard for project management, include 5 process groups, which are, as you see again, the initiating, the planning, the executing, the monitoring, controlling, and the closing group. And these standards summarize the processes. So these standards or these process groups, they also use the 49 processes I mentioned before, which are described in the 10 knowledge areas. PMBOK 7, at the same time, we see these standards pivot from project management processes to project delivery principles. So again, instead of processes now, we have principles. And the standards set the 6th edition 5 project domains and replaces them with 12 new project management standards, as you can see them, which are stewardship, value, team, stakeholders, holistic thinking, leadership, tailoring, quality, complexity, opportunities and threats, adaptability and resilience, and change management. So a quick look how the PMBOK guide 6th edition look like in comparison with 7th edition. And at the bottom, the yellow, the light blue box is the digital platform I mentioned earlier with all the information and knowledge, the templates, and you name it is there for you. What happens now is that, and here is another slide with comparison between the two of them. So PMBOK guide is prescriptive and descriptive as well, whereas the 7th edition uses principle to guide mindset, actions, and behaviors. They are both applicable to almost any project. PMBOK 7th edition, is literally to any project. What is important, though, is that those two are still valid. So PMBOK 7 has not replaced PMBOK 6. So we have now two editions, 2 books. PMI has 2 books for existing or aspirant project managers. So if you want to continue doing your job as a project manager, you have to go to edition 7 and see what is there and try to bring it into your practice. If you are planning to go for a project management certification, then both books are used for project management certification. I would like to do or tell you some more, but I see I have only 6 minutes left. I wish I had another 10. But all right, what we see here is two things compared: definable work versus higher certainty work, or if you prefer, industrial work versus knowledge work. The more uncertainty, which also applies for knowledge work, the most far from certainty in terms of technology and far from agreement in terms of requirements, we have more complicated or even complex or even chaotic environments to to apply project management. So as you see, when we have simple, when you know what we are doing, we know the requirements, like, okay, build me this kitchen, for example, or build me this car with 2 wheels and with 4 wheels and 4 seats, then it's easy. We can use traditional project management because technologically we are certain what we are doing and the requirements are quite definite. But if we are developing an application, then technologically we are far from certainty. Requirements are evolving day by day, so we will find ourselves somewhere between complicated and complex environments, and then agile project management might be necessary. The question is not if we want to be agile or not agile. The question is how much agile we want to be, or how much agile we can be, or how much agile we should be to have this project delivered successfully. Let's go real quick to the modern project manager, who now has to be a few things more than it used to be in the past. He has to be organized, he has to be passionate, he has to be goal-oriented. That's a few terms used to describe the project management. These guys, project managers, are individuals who understand what projects have in common and their strategic role in how organizations succeed, learn, and change. So by using project management skills, project managers oversee projects that drive success. What a project management manager does, it's pretty much known. He's defining the scope, planning and monitoring, managing the project resources, communicating, foreseeing and eliminating possible blockers, documenting each step of the process, ensuring top quality and success of a project. The future project managers, though, or maybe better put, what is the future of project managers? Today's and tomorrow's project managers? Project managers are found in every kind of organization. Experienced project management will become program managers, and then maybe portfolio managers. They are, and I believe they will be in increasing demand worldwide for decades, as the pace of economic and technological change has quickened. Organizations have been directing more and more of their energy into projects rather than business as usual or routine operations. Today, senior executives, HR managers, high-ranked stakeholders recognize project management as a strategic competence that needs if you want to have business success. They know that skilled but also credentialed practitioners are among their most valuable resources, and until today, at least, it seems that this is the case. What is the PMP? We already discussed. The Project Management Professional Certificate is a skills and validation. I'm not going to waste your time here. You can do it by yourselves. Why the PMP? Already covered that. PMP has a good market reputation. It is a good bullet in a CV. And now with the PMBOK 7, that's my absolutely personal opinion. Now PMP is even more useful as a tool for any project manager. What the PMP aspirant, certification aspirant do next? Go visit PMI, see how goes it. And if you want to go for the exam, then yes, I will strongly recommend it. You need to know that now, and I don't know until when, both 6th edition and 7th edition coexist, so we have to go through both of them. Plus lots of other material which are in the PMI website. All the instructions how to do that are on the PMI website, and also training providers that are PMI accredited. They are also a good source of information and also a good source of having your training delivered to you by these guys. The time is pressing, and apologies if I didn't analyze more. A few points I wanted even by myself to analyze. We covered the key concepts, the project management environment, what is the PMI, the PMP, and the PMBOK. We compared PMBOK 6 versus PMBOK 7, but most importantly, we cleared out that these are not competitive. They supplement each other. So PMBOK and PMBOK 6, now it's not versus PMBOK 7, it's PMBOK 6 and PMBOK 7. And yeah, the new project manager has to be also now agile, and PMBOK 6 and 7 give the foundations of agile, modern project managers, adaptable to the new challenges and able to manage to use new approaches to manage projects as they have evolved nowadays. Yeah, and the PM certification, the PMP certification, I just wanted to let you know, because if you go by yourselves, maybe you hear rumors about PMBOK 6 and about PMBOK 7, which is now active, which now is not in circulation. No, the answer is that both they are in circulation, and in the test you will find maybe 50% PMBOK 6 and 50% PMBOK 7 related questions.
So we have a question from Alpesh, and he asks: are all full projects needed to be managed using Agile only? George?
Yes. No. The answer is no. There are projects that can be managed with traditional way, and as let me go real quick to my slide. Hold on a second. Maybe in another webinar we can discuss the agilometer. So there are several types of agilometers, because now the question, as I said at some point, is not if I am agile or traditional or predictive. Traditional, predictive, waterfall are the terms used to describe the old-fashioned, let me call it that way, the way we knew until now. And agile is now the new approaches as well. However, it's not about agile or not agile. It's about how much agile, and it depends on the maturity of the organization. Agile has to be supported by the management first. Then you need to have the people to work agile, but also the nature of the project has to support agile. So you use an agilometer, and that will give you the answer how much agile and in which areas you have and you can be agile. For example, if you're building a software, you cannot be anything else but agile. So you plan for a day, you build the code, you test the code, you show the code, you demonstrate the code to the customer. And if everybody is happy, you go to the next step. But if somebody is not happy or somebody has a new idea, then you go back and you improve this one before you move forward. So you do this almost every day, and you do it. This is what is called agile. You are welcoming change at any moment. You cannot do that when you're building a skyscraper. You cannot have somebody to come with a change at the first floor, whereas you are building now the floor number 100. Now it's too late. So this is the type of projects you build in traditional way, because you can have the requirements from the very first moment. You design it 100%, and then you play with the time and the money to build it. But when you have a software, when you have an application and things like that, then you go day by day. You have the money and the time, and you're trying to do the best within these limits, within this money, the resources. Money is the resources, and time. You have 2 weeks and 5 developers, and I want you to bring me this application in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you bring me whatever the best you can make. So you're using agile. So long story short, it's not black and white. It's all shades of gray. If we have black is traditional and agile is white. So we have all shades of gray.
George, there's one more question, which is I'm preparing for PMP, so will I have to read both 6 and 7 editions? This is by Harshad.
I don't know if Harshan is doing it by himself. I don't think you can do it by yourself. You can do it by yourself, yeah, of course, but you need to have the PDUs from a training provider. So I suggest that he will ask his training provider, because you need 35 hours to go for the exams for the PMP. So you have to have this 35 hours by someone. It can be KnowledgeHut, it can be somebody else. So this training provider must know what is the material somebody needs to study from. It is the it is the COE. I don't remember what it stands for. Okay, please put it down. COE, PMI, and that will give you the curriculum, so to speak. So it explains everything. It's about 20 pages, and it has all the questions on that matter. Let me Google search it for a while. I think it's COE, PMI. No. It's not COE. I don't remember. Let me go to my apologies. I don't have the. It's a booklet, 20 pages booklet, which describes everything. Maybe I can give this answer with an email if we have this time for that one.
Also, Harshad says that I have 35 PDUs from ATP.
Come again? I didn't understand that.
Harshad also says that he has 35 PDUs from ATP.
What is ATP?
That's just a part of the question.
Yeah, 25. Yeah, I think I suggest that he goes to the PMI website and see what are the prerequisites for the PMP exams. And if I'm not mistaken, he needs some 1,000 hours of experience, proven experience, and he needs, I think it's 35 training hours from a training provider. like KnowledgeHut, for example, or many others. There are hundreds out there. So he needs this 35 hours in order to be able to apply for the exams with PMI. So that's what I'm trying to say. So yes, if he wants to learn more, he has to go to the PMI.org, and he will find out all these answers. But yes, from my side, he needs PMBOK 6 and PMBOK 7. That's the easy. He needs also to make a registration to the PMI, because the access to that digital platform I mentioned, you need to be to have a registration to have a registration with PMI. Otherwise, you don't have access to that one. And all these are needed.
All right. George, thank you so much. And I believe with that, we have come to an end of a session. I would once again like to thank George for taking the time out and addressing our audience on the topic of project management, and also want to thank all the attendees today who've been here with us. I want to encourage you to kindly log on to the KnowledgeHut website, where we will have more details of more such interesting sessions. And also feel free to get in touch with George if you have any questions or any queries related to project management. We will keep you updated about more such sessions in the coming months, and would also request you to kindly log on to the YouTube page of KnowledgeHut, where you will find the recordings of the previous sessions on project management, including this one that we've conducted today. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone, and I hope to see you all soon for the next webinar. George, thank you so much, and wish you all a good night.